Welcome to the Lesson 4 warm-up. In this video, we'll take a look at some waterfall examples so that we have a better understanding of what we're going to be painting in the next assignment. So here is an image that I used for part of the inspiration, and you can see the waterfall kind of comes out of this little V here at the top. This is the gap in the cliff, and it's spilling over the side. You can see that the way that this picture was taken, the water looks kind of streaky and kind of misty. So it's a slightly longer exposure, but you could still see a little bit of detail. And that's kind of what we'll be going for, is a little bit of texture here so that it's not super smooth. And then surrounding the waterfall, there's this kind of eroded area where there's rock because nothing could really hang on. It was getting hit by the water too much. On the edge of that, there's a lot of moss. And then after the moss, there's a lot of small plants that start getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, the plants and the trees that are up near the top, these are the furthest away because they're very high up and they're also very far back. So you want your trees to be smaller and smaller in the distance. And then as you move into the foreground, you want them to get bigger. So down here near the foreground, there's some very close trees. The trees in the distance will be implied. We won't go through and we won't draw every tree individually. What we'll do is we'll do a whole bunch of trees all at once, and we'll do it in layers. And I like to refer to this as making order out of chaos. The way we're going to be doing this is going to be kind of strange. We'll throw in a bunch of layers of greens and things, and in the end, it's going to end up looking more natural because of how spontaneous we did it. If we try to do it too intentionally, it's just not going to look right. The trees in the foreground will be different. Those we want to be very intentional. We'll draw the twigs and we'll draw the leaves on them individually because they're much closer. You want there to be this sense of distance, because if you don't have everything very small and very distant here, the waterfall is going to look small and it's going to look up close. So we want it to look very, very big. We're not going to do rocks in the foreground here. We are going to have a pool underneath, which we can see in this example here. There's a big splash, there's a bunch of mist, and then the water here is moving so much because of the waterfall that it's kind of just reflecting the colors that are around it, which ends up being this kind of green-gray color. You can see here, same kind of waterfall, same kind of erosion and distribution of foliage. It's just a slightly different angle. And we'll take a look at a few more examples here. This is a different kind of waterfall. It's a little bit smaller and a little bit closer from the perspective. And here is one that's in a more North American looking forest, and it's running down the side of a rock. This is a little waterfall. So now you have an idea of what we're going for. We can move on to the Lesson 4 assignment.